Most people now are depressed, they're anxious, and almost every single person has depression. Maybe slight depression or major depression. This is because of our modern day inventions, the technologies, and our mental health has been declining over these past few years and it's going to continue to decline over the next few years. How can you protect yourself from this decline of mental health? How can you improve your mental health right now? Back 2 years ago, my mental health was pretty horrible. The same way everyone's mental health is declining, mine was too. But then I found some YouTube videos telling me how to improve my mental health. So that's what I did. Slowly implemented this morning routine that helps me and my mental health. And I want to share that with you as well. How I improve my mental health and how you can as well. Because when you improve your mental health, every day feels like a gift. You feel happy every single day. You still feel sad at times because it's part of life. Having good mental health and being happy is not just smiles all day around. It's about being happy when you can be happy. When you look around, you can be grateful for what you have. And when you have good mental health, you're going to be mostly happy no matter what situation you're in. But if you have bad mental health, you're not going to be happy, even if you're in a particularly happy situation. Like if you're having a good time with some people that you love, maybe you won't feel as happy because your mental health is bad. But if your mental health is good, even when you're spending time with people that you don't really know, right, you're going to get to know them better, you'll be in a better mood, you'll be more friendly. And slowly your life will start improving with that. Your physical health will start improving. Because binge eating and not going to the gym, eating junk food, laying on your couch, just snacking, it's all mental health problems. All these bad habits that we have, they are not problems. Those habits are not the problems. The real problem is mental health. These are just symptoms of the real problem, that is mental health. Mental health is the root of all these issues, of all your bad habits. It's the root. Because when you have good mental health and when you are not depressed or anxious, there's no need for you to binge eat. There's no need for you to lie on your couch, eat potato chips the whole day. And when you have good mental health, you want to go to the gym, you want to be healthy. And when you have bad mental health, you don't want to go to the gym, you want to binge eat. Right? How does bad mental health come about? How do you get bad mental health? How does mental health become so bad for so many people in this world? It's because of social media. That's it. Social media. You've heard it before, and I'm going to tell you again. Social media is the culprit of all these mental health problems. 80% of these mental health problems are from social media. And let me tell you why. When you use social media, and when you use, for example, Instagram, there's no friction to use it. It's so easy to go on reels and start scrolling. There's no discomfort for you. There's no friction. You can literally just open your phone, click on Instagram, and start scrolling immediately within seconds. And you get that pleasure, you get that dopamine. But when you don't have friction before you get dopamine, if you don't have friction before you get pleasure, if you don't have discomfort before pleasure, your dopamine levels drop. They drop more and more and more. And that's how your dopamine level falls so low that you now become depressed. Dopamine, this molecule in our brain, is responsible for motivation, it's responsible for our mood, it's responsible for our happiness, it's responsible for depression. Low level of dopamine is what you call depression. And how do you get this low level of dopamine? When you scroll on Instagram, you're getting so much dopamine flooded into your brain. Your brain was not built to handle this much dopamine. Like back in the day, before social media was ever there, right? Barring drugs, there was no easy way to get that much dopamine. There literally wasn't. Nowhere. Right? You can get that much dopamine with such less friction. But now that social media has come around, We can get everybody, it's free for everybody. Just download the app. If they have internet, they can start scrolling. And that has created this so much dopamine in our brain. And these receptors, right? There are receptors in our brain in which dopamine attaches to. When dopamine attaches to these receptors, we feel pleasure, we feel the happiness or the pleasure that we get. But these receptors can't handle that much dopamine. And when this much dopamine gets released, your brain starts to down-regulate these receptors. Because if this much dopamine attaches to these receptors, they're going to get fried. So your brain down-regulates them. So less amount of dopamine is able to attach to these receptors. And because of that, you're able to feel less effect of the dopamine. Even if it releases the same amount of dopamine, you're able to feel less of it. That's why more and more you scroll, you feel less and less happy. The more and more you eat food, you feel less and less happy. The more you eat, the more you scroll, the more you play video games. As time goes on, you start to like it less and less and less. Because your dopamine, your receptors are getting down-regulated. And that's how depression starts, when your receptors are so down-regulated. No matter how much dopamine you put onto it, so less is able to attach to these receptors that you're no longer able to feel that joy, that pleasure of everyday activities. You need these hyper-stimulating activities to feel that same little bit of pleasure. That's how addiction builds. When your receptors start getting fried, that's when addiction builds. You're no longer able to gain joy from regular day-to-day things. So you go on to these hyper-stimulating things like drugs, like alcohol, like smoking, like video games, junk food, social media. Social media and like drugs work in the same way. It's not viewed as the same way. It kind of almost is. You know that? Like social media works in the same way drugs do. When you do drugs, your dopamine level spikes. You get so much dopamine in your brain. That's why you feel so much pleasure. And social media, it does the same thing. When you keep scrolling, so much dopamine comes in your brain and you feel that much pleasure. So we're letting this tool, this social media that we have, Instagram, just be in everybody's pocket. Nice and safe. Anytime they want, anytime they feel just a little bit bad, anytime they feel a little bit of discomfort, anytime you're waiting in the waiting room of a hospital, or you're standing in line at the grocery store, you can just pick that up and start scrolling. Because why would you want to be in this level of dopamine when you can be here? Right? It doesn't make sense. So when you do that, you lose the joys of everyday life. You have to realize social media is as bad, if not worse than drugs. You know why? Because social media has the same effect as drugs. I've told you why. Because dopamine release, it's the same way. But social media is not viewed as a particularly bad thing. 12-year-olds are allowed to use it. Little children are allowed to use it. So this is so much more dangerous than drugs. And we just let it roam around in our pockets. So close to us. And we lose that joy of being able to live every day to its fullest. So now, to improve our mental health, we need to improve our dopamine receptors, the health of our dopamine receptors. Now how do we do that? I'm going to give you step by step. How do you improve your mental health? First thing you need to do is dopamine detox. What is a dopamine detox? You probably already know. There are so many videos out there. Dopamine detox. It's like a trend or something. How you need to do dopamine detox is start by reducing all your dopaminergic activities. All these dopamine detox people tell you to just stop doing your dopamine activities altogether. But right now you're not capable of that. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you've tried throwing away the junk food or deleting Instagram off your phone. But you just end up re-downloading it, don't you? It's because you're not strong enough yet to absolutely cut it out. So now you need to reduce it. Right? Imagine I told you to imagine there were some 55 kg plates just racked up in one spot. Imagine I told you to pick up that whole stack and bring them over to me. You won't be able to do it. You're only capable of lifting 5 kg. How can you lift the whole thing? So you have to take that 5 kg, bring one over here, take the next one, bring one over here, and slowly unload that stack. It's the same way with your bad habits. You have to slowly unload your bad habits by reducing it. And slowly, when you get to a point where you can cut it out, right, then you should cut it out. Only once you reduce it to a certain point can you cut it out. Because by then you'll be strong enough to not have any urges to go and use Instagram or eat junk food. So that's the first thing, you need to dopamine detox. And this is a different way of dopamine detoxing, and I feel like this is the best and most efficient way to do this dopamine detox. And this dopamine detox is not for one day or for 1 week or a whole month. This is for life. Because we want to build a better life. And the way to do that is by removing these dopaminergic activities from our lives. And if this is something we're doing for our whole life, we don't have to be so quick on it, so aggressive on it. We can slowly remove it. And when we slowly get rid of these bad habits, we can stay away from them permanently. So what's the second thing now? Now we need to focus on actually improving our mental health, not just stopping what's destroying it. Now we need to improve our mental health. So how do we do that? This is a morning routine I'm going to prescribe to you. If your mental health is bad, if it's not bad, still do it, because I know your mental health is nowhere near as good as you want it to be. You want it to keep getting better and better and better. So what is this morning routine? This morning routine consists of 3 things: discomfort, mindfulness, and gratitude. What is discomfort? As soon as you get out of bed, go into your bathroom, go into your washroom, go into the shower, turn it all the way cold, and then step into that shower. It doesn't matter how long you stay in. You can even stay in it for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then get out. It's just that feeling of discomfort, that discipline of getting into that cold shower, feeling that shock, that discomfort, and then getting out. Because when you use social media, and if this is your baseline level of dopamine, this is your level of dopamine right now. When you use social media, when you do any dopaminergic activities, your dopamine rises. And then, once you're done doing that activity, it falls below that baseline. So the same way, if we now induce discomfort, our dopamine levels fall. But after we're done doing that uncomfortable activity, it rises above baseline. So that way we can increase our level of dopamine and get rid of like depression and like sadness, bad mood, low motivation, and just overall improve mental health. That's the first step. What's the second step? Mindfulness. Mindfulness, you've probably heard of it before. It's meditation. Meditation is a form of practicing mindfulness. You need to sit down in your focus, close your eyes, focus on your breath, focus on the inhalation, the exhalation, and soon, like within seconds, your mind will start to wander, thinking about something else. Now you have to bring your attention. After a while, you realize that your mind is wandering. So now you have to bring your attention back to your breath, and you do this many times over a period of time. You can set a time of like 5 minutes on your phone, 10 minutes, even 2 minutes, or 1 minute if you're just starting out. And slowly, you do this, and the timer goes off, and in that whole session, in this whole cycle of focusing on your breath, losing your focus, you realize you lost focus, and you bring your focus back to your breath. That's one cycle, and the more cycles you do of this, the better your mental health will become, the better your mindfulness will be. When you improve your mindfulness, you're able to be more present in this moment. And your mental health gets so much better when you meditate. And the last thing is gratitude. And this, how we're going to practice it, is by gratitude journal. Get out a notebook and write down one thing you're grateful for. Right, and I'm grateful for my room. I'm grateful for the weather today. I'm grateful for anything, really anything you can write. Person, thing, like a situation. I'm grateful for having that situation yesterday. You can write anything. And slowly you need to implement this morning routine, such as discomfort, mindfulness, and gratitude, into your everyday. And soon, within 2 weeks, you'll see massive improvements. I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, you'll see massive improvements. And slowly, your mental health will get better. You'll start living a better life, a more fulfilled life. And this is so important because no matter what you want to do in life, mental health is step 0. This is what you need to improve first before you improve anything else. So stay on this track, implement this morning routine, do it every day, and soon your mental health will be better than it ever has been.